I have in front of me, right here, right now, the holy grail of affordable firearms that are actually effective. Now, I've been preaching about this bad boy for years, and I thought I would put my money where my mouth is and get one and do some testing with it. Show you how to put it together. And that is the Maverick 88. Now, I know what you're saying. Firearm X is so much cheaper. Or, this is a better firearm. I don't think you understand. These come in at like $199, $299. What did I pay for this? I don't remember what I paid for this, but it was cheap. It has 8 rounds of capacity, 20-inch barrel, a bead sight, and it's ridiculously light. This is a lightweight firearm. Now, you might also be going like, well, what about this pistol or something like that? A pistol is only put in place where you cannot fit a long gun. A long gun has a huge advantage over a pistol. The advantage is so large, it's bigger than my Like, we're talking a massive, girthy advantage over a handgun. Long gun is way better. Now, this does have a few problems that can be addressed. Now, we're going to start off by spending no more money on this than a couple of rattle cans of paint. Because the finish on this, I don't know if it's like a Brownells Cold Blue or what, but it is garbage. We've had these in the shop before. Your fingerprints, and this shop is dry. Your fingerprints will cause rust spots. Whoever put on this little thing right here, touched it right there, and it's already starting to get a little blem in the finish. As soon as you wipe off the oil, it starts to rust. So you got to do something about the finish immediately. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray paint this bad boy. Now, the length of pull is incredibly long. Let me grab a tape measure real quick. So the length of pull on this particular shotgun is about 14 inches. That's 2 inches too long for me. My length of pull is 12 1/4. If you're not sure how to figure out your length of pull, take your arm, form a 90, hook your finger, measure from there to there, 12 1/4. Now you're like, well, you would never hold a shotgun like this. Why would you measure like that? That's just so you can get the proper angle on your shotgun, because you want to be something like this. That's where you'll be able to reach the pump. You'll have a nice length of pull on that, and the length of pull is incredibly important when you're talking about recoil. The better the gun fits you, the better you can manage the recoil. So we're going to take a hacksaw, we're going to chop this stock down, and then reattach the butt pad, hopefully. Hopefully I don't totally screw up the stock, otherwise I'm going to have to replace it right away. Now, it will probably ultimately get replaced, just because it's going to look pretty tacky, because it's going to be chopped like this much off of it, and there's going to be a bunch of black tape wrapped around it. But, at first, we're going to try not to spend any more than the cost of the shotgun and some rattle can paint. Alright, so far what we got done is I got paint on here, and I'm glad I did. Like, cleaning off the oil, there was already rust underneath the oil. Like, how does that even happen? What I used for paint was a self-etching primer. I'm hoping this will put a strong enough base on here so it'll stick. Because if this metal scratches anywhere, it's going to start to rust. So I'm going to have to constantly touch up the paint if any of it's missing. And then I just went over it with a couple other colors. These two right here. I'll roll some close-ups in. I taped off the bead because I wanted to make this stand out. Took out the internals and just painted her up. Now I got a saw. I wanted a hacksaw, but there wasn't one at the store, so this is what I'll be using. Basically, I'm going to chop 2 inches off the stock and then put the butt pad back on. I'm hoping there's still some sort of material in here I can screw into, or I can somehow put some sort of material in here I can screw into. And I'll shave the butt pad and wrap it in some sort of tape, because otherwise it's going to look like poopy. And then paint over it. I think that'll look okay. But if there isn't anything to attach to on the inside and I can't put anything in there for it to attach to, what I'm going to have to do is replace the stock right away. But I don't want to do that because I want to keep the cost of this down low enough to where it's basically just a couple of cans of paint. The pump is something I'm going to address very soon because this is just pinned into plastic, and plastic gets real fragile when it's cold. I mean, tomorrow it's supposed to be like -1. I would have a legitimate concern that this might crack on one of the pins if I were to take it out there in that cold of weather. Yeah, it likely wouldn't, but there's always the possibility it might. Also, the lifter, when this was shipped to me, it was pushed in. Mossbergs have a lifter that kind of like They look like a V. Here, let me draw one up. They look like this. I'll roll in a picture of an actual one too. Oh. You get the idea. These are supposed to be the same level. Well, anyway, if your Mossberg takes a really hard hit, it can actually pop this in, and then you'll be able to fire the round that's in the chamber. When you cock back, the slide will lock back. You don't have to, you know, screw around a bunch to get it to go back forward. So what I did with that is bent it out a little bit, because when this was shipped to me from riding in a truck, yes, it was popped in. And that is something you're going to want to be aware of. If you have a Mossberg and you're storing it in a vehicle, it should be stored like this or like this. If it's on its side, it's possible for this to pop down, and then after your first round, or if you don't rock with one in the tube, or the one in the pipe, which I wouldn't recommend doing because this firearm is not drop safe. So if you don't have one already in the tube, when you go to rack in your first round, you're going to go back, and then it's going to jam. So I spread mine apart, so that'll help prevent that from happening. It's not a foolproof plan, but when it was brand new and I pulled it out of there, it kind of went straight up and slightly in, so there wasn't much pressure on there. Now I feel it should be okay. Like, it's not moving down at all. So yeah, I do feel like that would be fine. I mean, obviously if it takes a super hard fall or it's in a trunk where you get the vibration and the bouncing, that might happen. So be aware of that with your Mossbergs. But hopefully that'll fix it. I'll do some drop testing later to find out if it did or did not, and then I'll keep you guys informed. But I just spread it apart just a little bit. But anyway, back to the video. Then we're going to prove the concept. We're going to do some shooting with it, see how it works. After that, then we'll start putting some money into it. Once we're ready to put some money into it, there's a couple of things that need to be addressed. One is the plastic safety housing right here. I don't think that's that big of an issue. I'm going to leave that alone. The second one, how this pump goes in. Typically with a shotgun, you have your two slide bars right here, and then they'll go up into a metal sleeve, and then this plastic pump will slide over it. Well, on the Maverick 88, the pump itself is plastic. There is no metal sleeve underneath it. It's just pinned in. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to recover a used Mossberg 500 pump and put that on here, because that has the metal sleeve under it. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but that's okay. Then after that, we'll be looking at probably the Magpul stock, because I just really like the way they look. The Maverick 88, you can run on pistol grip if you want because of the safety location. You cannot with a Mossberg 500 because the safety is up here. So, we'll spray paint it, put a new pump on it, put a new stock on it. Knowing me, I'll probably wind up putting a heat shield on it. Unfortunately, the Maverick 88 does not accept the light well at all. Like the Mossberg 590 series, they have like a little split right here, like a reinforcement with the tube in the barrel. You can mount a light to that because you can attach it to that. Where the Maverick 88's open like this, if you put any light on here, because the shotgun has so much recoil, it'll just slide all the way to the end, right here. Doesn't work. Can't run a light on this shotgun. I mean, you know, maybe you could probably figure something out. I wasn't able to. I tried. They failed miserably. And then it's just going to run. So we're going to look at, if you have $300 and you need to set up a home defense weapon, what you can do, and then if you want to take this, if you get money later, and how to upgrade it. Because again, a shotgun is nothing to thumb your nose at. Don't get me wrong, I would much rather have a rifle over a shotgun. A rifle's easier to shoot, carries more ammo, reloads are quicker, but if I only had like $300, this is what I would buy. This can put down the pain if you need it to. It's affordable. It's got the Mossberg reliability. It's got the open load gate, which is critical for quick loading because of how it goes in there. So you may be asking yourself why not having a load gate is so important. It's important because if you fumble up a load or you screw up, it'll kick your shell off of there. So unless you're running like a tactical vest or caddies or something like that, your shells can come out of your pocket in any orientation. Worst case scenario, I grab two of them. They're in opposite orientation. With a load gate, I'd be screwed. I'd have to flip one around, or I'd have to do it one at a time. Without a load gate, I just pop the one that's facing forward on there, and I come up with the second one. push it in. Now I just loaded 2 shells. Say I want to do a more complex reload, like, I don't know, a twin. I have 2 shells right there. I'm rocking a caddy. I rip off 2. I just come straight in with them. Well, that one I screwed up, but you get the idea. Now I have 4 rounds in the pipe. So for me, it's very important with fast loads that I don't have a load gate. Because otherwise, you know, like even doing a load like this, like going violin style, I come in, I screw up while the shell's still there. I can just push it in. I can't do that with a load gate. It'll flip it out. Next, all the important stuff that really matters on the inside of this is exactly the same as a Mossberg 500. It's not like other cheaper offerings from different companies where they cheap out on the stuff that really matters. Yes, this pump, that's cheap. That can be replaced. Yeah, the stock's too long, but that can also be replaced. This is a bad-ass affordable shotgun. It doesn't have like an 870 trapdoor in it. This is an awesome setup. And again, we're going to prove the concept and we're going to test it. So, I hope to see you in the next video in the Maverick 88 series. I do need help naming this. I have no idea what I'm going to call it. If you got any suggestions, leave it in the comment down below. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon right there, and I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe.